Before you mentioned that with this album, you think that you will get a bigger audience. So, do
Yeah.
you think that before this album, Bigelf got all the attention and recognition that it deserves for what you have done before this album?
No, no. It, I think that, well, you can't change time. You're just, sometimes it's just about luck, and you're just in the right place. I mean, I think Paul McCartney said, the Beatles were just in the right place at the right time with
Yeah,
the right kind of talent too, and the right four people together. I read all the time online people posting about Big Elf being criminally underrated and like the best unknown band you've never heard of and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts deep inside when you've tried really hard to do something and you don't get anywhere. But I'm not gonna don't cry about it. It's just, I'd like to be further along after all the work we've done. But you can't change the stars. It is what it is. Either people don't understand it, or maybe the business isn't. The label's not aligned correctly. Maybe the promotion's not good. And when you go back to Hex,
yeah,
we released Hex in Scandinavia. It was top 10 in Scandinavia, top 10 in Sweden. We did a huge tour over there. We were very, very popular. I thought things would be blowing up. There was a lot of excitement at Warner Music in England about us. And the next thing you know, the company's purchased the next year. And it's not a personal thing or music taste. It's just who's earning the more, what bands aren't the big earners, and you just get cut from the roster. So if you take something like that, we just circumstance, that it throws you into sort of when you get dropped, it throws a stigma on you of like, oh, that record, it's not that good or something like that.
yeah,
So if Cheap the Gallows really was our sort of triumphant moment of getting really big tours with the big arenas with Dream Theater and touring with Porcupine Tree and getting on the cover of magazines and big exposure worldwide. It just didn't go quite as far as I thought it was going to go, and certainly right when we were on the cusp of keeping the momentum going, we had some internal trouble in the band as far as just tension and dealing with things, and that slowed us down in the last couple of years. But I was able to pick it back up with Duffy and Mike and kind of make some, get this going and give it another try. I'm not a quitter, so.
good. So, before you mentioned that, the press will mention you as the best and heard band or something like that. What was the most absurd thing that you have heard that the specialized press, the musical press, has said about the Elf?
What's the most absurd thing I've heard
Yeah,
about Big L? Is that
yeah,
what you said?
yeah.
You mean bad or good, or just like
Or just absurd, something like this band sounds like this, or this album is like that, and you just say why?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know a lot of people always ask me like, why does it take so long between the records? That we like to spend a lot of time writing, and I'm thinking, no, I'm playing golf. I'm out like vacationing and I'm trading on the stock market.
Yeah,
I think that is always absurd when someone says, "Why does it take so long?" It's like, of course, I don't want to release a record every 4 to 5 years or something. It's circumstance, unfortunately, and some of it is my own fault to try to, when you're trying to put together a new release, you're trying to line up the planet so that the business goes good. I don't have the luxury of having a really successful career and a brand, say, like Dream Theater, for instance. Mike can leave Dream Theater and he's got the whole world at his fingertips to do whatever he wants.
yeah,
And that some of those things may be, mildly successful to incredibly successful. It just depends. So he has a lot of options because of his brand as Mike Portnoy. So when Big Elf has, a situation where you lose a member, you get dropped from the label, it's catastrophic for us as far as an energy field because it turns to sort of stagnate the band and everything comes to a stop.
yeah.
So, absurd things about the band. Yeah. Oh, boy. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. I mean, you hear people saying that I fired all the guys in the band and stuff like that online or whatever,
Yeah.
which isn't true, or that it's just Damon in the band, or yeah, who knows? I try not to read too much into what people say. I mean, I do like to read positive and negative comments about the band, because I think obviously the positive stuff can reinforce some feelings that you have about your own music, and then if you're brave enough to embrace the negative, you have an opportunity to grow and change, because you can look and say, well, so why isn't this guy getting it? Like, what does he like about it? Is he strictly a punk rock listener and he's not going to understand the prog rock, or is he like a metal listener but he doesn't like the sort of the harmonies as they go? What is it? So I'm always interested, but can't really think of any absurd things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just to finish the interview, let me ask you one thing. Obviously, with the help of Mike Portnoy, you have more audience besides doing an album that try to get attention from more audience. But obviously, the help from Mike is big. How much was his collaboration on this album? Do you think that you could create an album like this without Mike's collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike does. Whenever he contributes drums to a record, I happen to think this is some of Mike's. I don't judge Mike by his sort of pyrotechnics and how sort of technical he is. I judge it by like his passion and his emotion behind the kit. So for me, I think he's got a lot of good emotion behind his drums on this, and there's lots of cool drum parts and stuff like that. But it's not about. So that's the thing I like about Mike as a drummer. He's a really song-based drummer. As far as the collaboration, and he definitely could have done the record without Mike. I love his drum parts, and in some ways couldn't see the record without those drum parts.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a hit. It was a combustible good chemistry when we got together and started working on it. And I hope that we can do something in the future. And like I said, he did a really good job. He's very what's the word? He was very. When I sent him the demos or some of the drum ideas, he's very good about staying with the song and staying with the drum part of the song, and he's very conscious about not being too much of a showboat, or like too technical where it doesn't need to be technical, even though he is a very technical drummer.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the best attribute for a progressive rock drummer, is to be a song drummer. And maybe Mike's maybe his gifts and his abilities lie elsewhere when he plays with Dream Theater, because they're not always so much about the song. It's more about the passages and the jamming and the time signatures and all that stuff, and the solos and whatnot. With Bigelf, it's just mostly about the song and the emotion behind the song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what the whole Portnoy involvement, like what that brings to the table, as far as, like you said, people listening to the record, or what. I guess we'll have to find out.